Hi, poets. I'm Liz Whiteacre, and we are going to explore resilience. Resilience is that quality that helps us recognize obstacles that pop up in our life and respond to them and move forward as quickly as possible. Get knocked down, we get back up, figure things out, and move forwards. It helps us thrive despite adversity. It helps prepare us to overcome future obstacles, can also reduce stress and strengthen our coping skills. And research has also shown that it can lead to increased feelings of satisfaction and wellness. So, we are going to be exploring how poetry can help develop our resilience in our lives off the page. Research has shown that poetry can help us increase our self awareness, our feelings of wellness, and positive moods. Poetry can help us reduce anxiety, develop coping skills. Poetry can help us explore and express our emotions. It can take many shapes and forms, which helps us think about what we experience and how we want to communicate that with other people in a variety of ways. And poetry helps us develop our voice on the page and helps us be able to give voice to other people as well. So it's a great tool to help us strengthen our resilience. Slide it up there, sorry. In this writing prompt, we are going to walk through a couple of different slides that ask you to participate in writing. I recommend that you grab a sheet of paper and a writing utensil, your favorite, and work through the different elements that will lead to a poem draft, and then type up your poem draft at the end of the video. The first thing that we are going to do is brainstorm. Think about past obstacles that you faced in your life. So take that piece of paper and draw a line down the middle of it, or you can fold it in half so you have a left side and a right side. What I'd like you to do in the next few moments, I'm going to time it, is create a list of obstacles, however big or small. It could have been learning how to drive. It could have been figuring out how to make something work that wasn't working. It could be um, having something upsetting happen, learning how to grieve someone or something that you've lost, dealing with a breakup. All different types of obstacles happen daily. And what I'd like you to do is think about those most memorable ones. Oftentimes, they are ones that might have been a little messy or sloppy, and that's okay. They might also be ones that we feel really proud of because we were able to get through it, and so they stick on our mind. The list that you're about to create is one that is personal to you. We're doing this through a video so that you have some privacy, so don't censor yourself at this point. As you're filling up that list on the left column, also take a moment as memories are coming up to jot down maybe what time of your life was that? Are we talking, oh, I remember learning how to read in kindergarten, or are we talking about having to find a new apartment? And maybe that happened last month. So think about when it happened, who was involved, any little details that come up as you're writing so you don't forget those. We can use those as prompts later on. And again, write down as many things as you can in this next 3 minutes. You should not stop writing, right? No idea is a bad idea. This. Jot down the details that you remember as you can. If you get down 2 things, that's great. If you can get to 20, that would be amazing too. So this is your moment. Got your paper, got your pen, pencil, marker, whatever your jam is. Have your line down the center. On the left, obstacles, details on the right. I'm going to set the timer. Let's do it. 2 minutes to go. If your mind has drifted, come back to the page, your task at hand, record those different obstacles that you faced. What are those moments where you dealt with something big or small and tackled it and you feel really proud about it? Keep going. Don't stop. You've got this. We have about 40 seconds left. Try and get down all those memories, all those details, as many as you can down on the page. Shake out your fingers if they're starting to cramp. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoo! Get down that last word that you were thinking about putting on the page. Shake it out. Deep breath. Roll those shoulders. And we're going to move on to the next step. Take a breath. It's like exercise. It was a sprint we just did. Next, what I'd like you to do is identify one of those obstacles that you would like to write about in a poem. So take a look at what you've written. You might, kind of jot things down. As you're looking through the list, you can cross some no-goes off the list. Some things I'd like you to consider is, what are you comfortable sharing with other people? So this is a poem that we're going to be working on and sharing with other writers, other readers. And so it should be something that you're okay with sharing. Other people will see it. Some things on your list you might not want strangers to know, and that's okay. You might also consider, of what's left on your list, what you're comfortable sharing, what do you find most compelling? What would you be interested in spending some time with? Also think about, what do you feel you understand the best at this point? You might have written about something that happened last week that you're still trying to process and work through. And that can be a great material for a poem. But if we're still processing, it might be hard to resolve that poem or really kind of know how we feel about it yet. So that might be something that you keep your notes on and come back to a little bit later, or you might want to dive into those raw emotions and process them with us over the series of videos together. But that's something that can be helpful. And is there a level of complexity? Maybe you struggled deciding what flavor latte you wanted this morning. That could be an interesting poem. We are going to be working with this obstacle a couple of times and coming at it in different ways and rewriting it. So in my opinion, that wouldn't be the one that I would choose to go with. I might choose something that has a bit more complexity to it. So that's something to consider as well. So we're going to take a quiet moment. Hopefully you've been looking at your list. If not, take a quiet moment to look through. And I'd like you to circle the obstacle that you want to focus on in a poem. All right. 6 more seconds. You should know what obstacle you want to focus on. Um, and if it doesn't pan out, that's no worry. We are just practicing our resilience skills and we are practicing our poetry skills. So, whatever you pick is going to be awesome. And if you have quite a few ideas, you're like, "Ooh, you're having a hard time choosing." Well, maybe those are poems you should be writing. Right. Next, we're going to do a little bit of pre-writing. Before we dive into the actual poem itself, I want to have you take a little time to pull up that file in your brain and kind of think through the details, kind of think through what happened, especially if it's something that's distant in the past. Um, so when we do this, you could free write, just kind of turn things off and just start filling up a page. If bulleting, right, like what we did for the obstacles, if just kind of jotting down things wherever on the page. Sometimes drawing can be really helpful too if you kind of want to like sketch out and uh, storyboard, if you will, that works as well. So pick whatever pre-writing method you would like to use. And I'm going to go through this list of questions. You can follow along with me. If you fall a little behind, that's fine. You can look at the screen or you can skip that one. You can move forward. But we're going to take 3 minutes and we're going to kind of try to get down on the page what this obstacle was for you. So that way you've kind of done that thinking and you can then write a poem with all of that information pulled up in your head. So I'm going to start my timer. Whatever strategy you want to use, that's what you should use. I'd like you to think about what caused this obstacle. Was it unexpected? Did something happen and then cause the obstacle or problem or crisis or decision that you had to make? But take a moment to recall and record on your page in some way. How did things kick off? What was the catalyst for this obstacle? What happened? What happened? When you discovered like, "Oh, this is something I have to deal with." Um, what alerted you? What was, like, the plot for that day? Um, how did you realize who was involved? Kind of think about the life events, and record those concrete details. How did you handle this obstacle? How did you deal with it? Did you ask for help? Did you solve it on your own? Um, did you kind of rely on past experiences to help inform the decisions you made? How did you feel when it happened, as you were resolving it, after it was resolved? Uh, make some notes on that. What are things you did or other people helped you to do or people did for you, and how are you feeling? What was that roller coaster? Um, make note of how it resolved. How did things turn out? What life lesson did you learn from this experience? Right, you're wiser because now you know, or, well, in dealing with that, I learned this can happen, or I can deal with these different things, or these people are people I can rely on. It's the moral. And how did you grow as a person? Right, when you think about yourself before the obstacle and you think about yourself after the obstacle and now, however much time has passed, what did you take with you from that experience? That was some good note taking. Hopefully you've got this living in your head now. Our last step is to draft a poem. I only have two asks for this. I'm going to ask that you write this poem from your own point of view. So using first person. I did this, this happened to me, I felt this, however you want to do it, but it's coming from your vantage point. I'm also asking that whatever you write engages your poem's audience with this obstacle that you faced and overcame. You could focus on the end, right? That moment where everything was okay again. You could focus on that moment of decision where you took action and things started to change. Um, Please don't just focus on the obstacle, like the problem that came up. Make sure that you're responding to it in some way. You don't have to tell the entire story, but when you're thinking about framing it, we should see you, right, trying to overcome or having had overcome this. You can use any style of poetry. You can use any form of poetry, whatever language choices, diction you'd like, just from your point of view, so first person, and you're engaging your audience with how you overcame this obstacle. Got the assignment? All right, I am resetting my timer. I'm going to put it on for 5 quiet minutes. I'll let you know when we're halfway through and when we have 30 seconds left to go. Please write this out. Here we go. Halfway through. Thirty more seconds. Start to wrap up your thoughts. All right. You may not have totally finished in that time. And what I recommend you do, if you want to pause the video and finish writing out, you can. Or you can write yourself a to-do list. Like, don't forget, this is how the poem was going to end. That's it. 12 minutes. Look what you accomplished. So, last step is take your poem that you just drafted on the page and type it up. When you move from the paper, pencil, or pen version and you start typing it up in your word processor, you can make any revisions that you would like, right? If you finish it, if you make some changes to the lines, if you like one word better than another word, feel free to make any revisions you would like as you move from what you hand wrote to the computer and typing it up. And also work to give it a title. Even if you don't love it, this is just the first draft, right? It's like those pictures of babies when they're first growing and can't quite tell exactly what it is yet. That's the first draft of a poem. There's so much potential for growth and change and shaping. So give it a title for now, a tentative one, and then follow the instructions for sharing your draft with us. Thank you for writing with me, and I can't wait to see what you created.